in podcasting a few years ago when I started running for Congress, and Tommy just called me up out of the blue and said, "Hey, I'd like to interview you." And I think he was my very first serious interview, and I cherish that because he got me into this world of podcasting. This guy's done over a thousand shows, and he's spoken with some of the most intelligent people really in the United States. And I'm just proud to say he's inspired me. I'm proud to say he's a friend of mine. I've learned a whole lot from him. And without any further ado, Tommy, how you doing today?
I'm doing very good, Bernie. Thank you for having me on here, dude.
Man, we always have fun when we talk, and I just appreciate you joining us. I mean, you were the very first person that got me going into this, but can you tell me a little bit about yourself so the audience will know who you are?
Yeah, the I do Tommy's podcast on Rumble. It started in December 2019. Yeah, I've done 1,500 episodes. Just there is no really rhyme or reason to them. I find people that are interesting to me, topical news or a cause that I feel is worth talking about, being it like former SF guys breaking up child trafficking rings, or whatever's going, censorship this, hot topic that, and also just intermingled with, I mean, just authors I find interesting. It's about stuff that's not topical at all. Like I had on a guy a couple weeks ago who wrote a book about stagecoach robberies, and like that's kind of the beauty of it is, um, I don't have to pigeonhole it into one thing. Some people only do news shows. Some people only do like Vietnam history or something. And I couldn't do that in a million years. I have to just be able to talk about anything and everything whenever and however I want. But yeah, I started this. I have no education in this. Anyone can do it. You can do it as you are. It's really pretty simple. It's I'm 34. I got into medical school out of college in 2013. I decided not to go, and yeah, started the show 5 years ago this December, and truly still have no idea what I'm doing. It's a unicycle juggling flaming chainsaws. I have no idea what I'm doing.
But dude, I disagree with you when you say anybody could do it. You've got a very, very curious mind and you do your work, you do your research. And, when somebody comes on your program, and I've been on your program a couple of times, you got to know your stuff because you ask hard questions. And I just really appreciate that. This is
Yeah,
your
man.
first time on my show that you literally started.
Woo.
But, I've been on your show a long, how many times. And so I just figure it's time for some reciprocation. How about that?
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here.
All right. I got a couple of questions for you, man. They're topical things, so let's go at it. You ready?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about democracy. The Democrats used to be the party of free speech when I was a kid. What happened to turn the, Kennedy Democrats from the 60s into the corporate supporters that they've become today?
Um, I think I think you kind of have to like when you're learning biology or something, you have to start at the very bottom. You learn physics, and then you learn chemistry, and then you learn organic chemistry. You have to understand how all the pieces work, and then they come together, and then you can understand higher order things, biology, and then you understand tissues, organs, systems of organs, organisms, and then like evolutionary biology, you understand societies, and then human history is like how the societies interact, and then astronomy is, how the cosmos interact. But the point is you have to have an accurate understanding of what happens at the most fundamental level to have any chance at a coherent grasp of what's going on at the larger level. So I say all that to say is the people who have traditionally run the world they've been naturally selected through, on one hand it's good, you have cutthroat hard workers like Rockefeller or Carnegie, but there is no ceiling to it. So it also means psychopaths rise to the top. And on the
Mhm.
very far end, you have tyrants who come to charge, and they're not philanthropists like Carnegie or Rockefeller who, do something for the standard, for the overall good, like a Vanderbilt or something. Instead, they just kill everyone. But because we are humans and the most vicious animal survives, that didn't stop with saber-toothed tigers or great white sharks. So my point is so why am I saying all of this? To understand why the Kennedy Democrats became this, is you have to realize that the apex of the people doing this are not Democrats or Republicans. It was fashionable to follow up, you know, Bush and Cheney, this, sort of hardcore torture, knocking over countries, just, surveillance state with Occupy Wall Street, Hope and Change, LGBTQ. It is simply the most viable mask. It is the most efficient and has the greatest ROI for tyrants. It's in the same way you can't just go invade. China can't invade the U.S. It's a death sentence. But they can cyber attack. They can release viruses. They can, hijack social media apps and do social engineering. It is the most appealing way to wage war. So just like right after 9/11, if you want to come in, what do you got to do if you want to come into power? You got to stand on top of the World Trade Center with a bullhorn. You got to bum rush through the Patriot Act. And I'm not even making a comment on any of that. It's just an observation. And we're doubling the military. We're going to go in and we're going to give them hell. That's because that's what was fitting at the time. In the same way, for the last 15 years, the most appealing mask for the people that want to run the world are, you know, do this so your grandma doesn't die. Do this because you want to be progressive. You can't have borders because we have to let in the cold, the poor, and the hungry. That's simply the most appealing mask to wear. And as the pendulum swings back in the next 10 years, I imagine we'll see a hardcore conservative, whiplash. And then in 30 years, people will be doing an interview like this and they'll say, how did the Trump Republicans become pro open border, pro, transitioning kids, pro forever wars? And someone will have this exact discussion. So, very long answer to it's they're not Democrats. It's just they're putting on the puppet and they're going, this one works the best. And they'll
They're
discard
playing.
it. They'll discard it the second it is. I would imagine that we're going to see that in the coming years. They're going to go, hey, this thing's not working anymore. What if we draped ourselves in the flag and the cross, said we're pro Trump? We're going to bolster up the border. We're going to say no kids can transition. And then people will cheer us in, and you'll do that. And then it will eventually decay, and it'll just go, there's nothing new under the sun.
But in the meantime, the same people that are in charge stay in charge.
Well, yeah, of course. That's because they're not just evil, they're also smart. They're not stupid psychopaths get arrested in the street at 2 a.m. Smart psychopaths stay behind the veil and buy congressmen, buy presidents. They are smart. To say they're Biden and Kamala are so stupid, they're stupid. The people controlling them are not stupid. They're very intelligent.
Tommy, you're almost as cynical as me.
I'm not. No, I'd say. But let me follow that and say I don't think it's cynical at all. I think if you ground yourself and believe in God and God into your heart, and you understand that this is a passing. I'll tell you why it's not cynical. So let's say you're an atheist, hardcore, can't change your mind. All right, cool. Best case scenario, good people coming in charge. We end all the wars. We have world peace. No one goes hungry in the world. There's no censorship. There's no killing. There's no murder. There's no rape. There's no nothing. Everything works out well. Life expectancy goes from 100 to it goes to 150 years. Okay. You still get old and die. It still goes away. So what matters is leave a better world to those that maybe you don't want kids. I'll just say have kids. That's a meaningful thing. If you don't want to have kids, leave a better world to the people around you. You go, I don't ever want anyone to, I don't want anyone to ever lose their grandpa to lung cancer again. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. It still all comes down to you're rooted in a higher power, be it Christ, be it Allah, be it whatever, or be it I'm an atheist and I just want to leave a better world. The point is all of this is passing. Just like you start with physics and chemistry and you got to go up and you have to keep extrapolating. It doesn't end at astronomy. It goes to what is reality? What is consciousness? What is all of this? It is all at the very core fleeting. And that's the only thing we can know for sure is that it's fleeting. So the psychopaths, although they're the best of the best, they're the best of the best at running this world. That's all they have. Tom Brady, I'm from New England. I'm in New England. Tom Brady, greatest quarterback ever. Didn't he eventually leave his wife and kids?
He did.
Okay, for an extra season. And
Yep.
now he's too old to keep playing. So he has all his money, an extra Super Bowl ring, sure. But what does he do now? Do you think he just kind of gets out of the shower and it's just an empty home? Okay, you can run the table while you're there. Do you remember Rondé and Tiki Barber, those twins?
I sure do.
They retired in their early 20s because they were like, I have enough money to be set for life now, and I don't want my body and brain destroyed by football. I want to be able to have kids. Who really won? Depends on how you look at it. Who won the
Yeah.
game? Tom Brady. Who won life? I'd say the Barbers. So,
Yeah.
are they still in power and are they going to stay in power forever? Absolutely. Does that matter to me? Not in the slightest. They can have their Super Bowl rings. I have extreme belief and love in God, and I love my family, and I want to do philanthropy. They,
There
they,
you
they
go.
can have geopolitics, and I understand that it's not nothing. It means that they're gonna kill most of the people in the world, as they often do.
Unless we can stop them.
And even if we don't stop them and everything works out well, you still live and then you die. So understand it's all fleeting. Act accordingly. Sorry for that absolute word vomit of an answer.
Oh man, I was reading Ecclesiastes just the other day, and it talks about the very same thing. None of this is new, and there's nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely not. We've seen it all before. Have you seen that thing where it's like it's some Sumerian tablet, or maybe it was in Rome they found, and there was somebody had written on it. It said things are so bad. No one wants to work. Everyone just wants to write a book and be famous, and kids don't respect their parents. That was from like 3,000 years ago.
Wow.
Nothing new under the sun, man.
Nothing
What?
new under the
Hey,
sun.
everyone wants to start a podcast. Kids don't respect their parents. No one respects traditional values. You shut up. It goes forever. It goes forever.
That's crazy, man. Look, I got another
Yeah.
question for you. Okay, let's talk a little bit of politics. Why are American citizens like they don't understand that they're being surveilled at every turn?
No, they do.
And not only surveilled, but kind of I see this as enslavement. I believe that you see it the same way. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Uh, I disagree. I say everyone knows they're being surveilled, and what's even crazier is they know and they kind of don't care. I think one, and it's faulty, but one, it's the logic of I have nothing to hide. And it's not, that's a bad logic. That's what leads to tyranny, but it's a logic nonetheless. It's, you know, does anyone not know how to be healthy? Also, Bernie, you're not a doctor. I'm going to ask you right here on the spot. How do you be healthy? Real quick, can you list a couple things?
Stop eating processed food. How about that? Exercise, drink plenty of water, stay away from stuff that's in a box.
All right.
Stay
Now,
healthy.
and how many people do that?
Not many.
Yeah. Some people do know and some people don't. It's easier to stay in bed and eat Big Macs. It doesn't make it right. It's just easier. They don't care. So hey, they surveil me. What am I realistically? Now I'm different because I'm doing a podcast, so it's I purposely put it out there. But most people know they're being surveilled. They don't care because to a degree you can still buy groceries, go to the gas station. There's still mostly rule of law. Not everyone's walking down the street strapped. There's kind of a general acceptance of I'm not going to kill you. You don't kill me. I got to go do a podcast. You got to go to work. Whatever. It's acceptable until it is too pressing. If you've ever put on 20, 30 pounds without realizing, you kind of know, you're eating more, but you're kind of not exercising. And then one day you catch yourself in a new mirror at a store or something, you see an angle, and you're like, ooh,
What
ooh,
the
ooh, ooh. And even if it's not like the end of the world, you're still just kind of like, noted. And then you can't really write off I'm not going to go to the gym. Like, I kind of got to go to the gym today. You go, it's midnight, you're putting dishes away. You're like, I might just have, and you're like, probably, I don't need another bite. It's, you ignore it until it becomes too pressing. And so I think that things will continue so long as it's, even with inflation, even with a border crisis, even with fentanyl, the reality is, and this is optimism, the vast majority of us still live a very peaceful, relaxed life. I mean, I get it. You got to work and traffic and health issues. I get all that. But all things considered, even for all the problems, 2024 America is still the apex of mankind. You say
I
whatever
would
you
agree.
want about the economy that we're going. I get it. I can pick up my smartphone right now that has 100 trillion times more computing power than Kennedy's White House. I can order tacos, and without leaving this chair, I can keep talking to you at the speed of light through a flat screen Mac and have food delivered to my door and not worry about an ambush by a mob of armed guerrillas. All things considered, it's still the best time to be alive. So that's why people don't like it. It doesn't make it right. We know surveillance is bad, but at the moment, it is still, you can still ignore it. You can say, yeah, it's not due tomorrow. The homework's
Yeah.
not due tomorrow. It will be due. And that reckoning is often comes in, uh, at best, a bloody civil war, at worst, a Holocaust in nature. But like, not having, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. We can still kick it down. What actually happens if you don't today call your congressman and say, I'm sick of domestic surveillance? What realistically happens if you don't do that today? Nothing.
Nothing.
You and I are going to do the show. I got some laundry to do after this, and I'm going to go hang out with my brother. But
There you go.
so it's not pressing until it is pressing.
Yeah.
It's not
Hey, I
right.
got
It's just what
a
it
question for
is.
you though. Let
Yeah.
me ask you this. Kamala Harris, and that's kind of where I'm going with this surveillance thing, because you know she's all wrapped up with Silicon Valley and just will let them do whatever they want
Yeah.
if she's elected. But why are progressives supporting her? I mean, what do they see in her?
I think there is still a legitimate there is a legitimate psychosis surrounding opposition to Trump that I think is unlike anything I've ever seen, in that they'll vote for whoever. I think it's also, though, if we're positing that there is censorship, and there is Twitter files, we know that Zuckerberg just came out. I mean, so you have the Twitter files, and then you have Zuckerberg, who controls Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Those two right there, that's like 90% of social media. You throw in Reddit, you throw in TikTok, it's right there. So now we know beyond a reasonable doubt that that the government was directly involved. Okay. So if there's censorship, then when you look online and you go, man, no one is, no one's, I don't know, no one's against this new war, no one's against this new, medical program, or no one's, or that's because censorship's working. You don't, you don't see it, right? You know, it's like the joke of, 9 out of 10 scientists agree, and then they go and shoot the 10th, and they go 9 out of 9 agree. That's 100%. It's so we don't actually know how many progressives are for this, by virtue of the fact that that there is censorship. You don't know. And it's when you're in a football stadium and there's 100,000 people around you, and if somebody gets on a microphone and goes, is one, pulled up a red card if 1+1's 2, everyone holds up a red card, a couple idiots don't. You're pretty certain, even if you don't know the answer to 1+1, you go, I would imagine it's probably 2. Everyone's saying this. But if you are stuck in an apartment, you're looking at it through a phone, and somebody asks 100,000 people if 1+1 equals 2, You can't see anyone in a restaurant. You just see your phone. Now, theoretically, your phone should tell you what everyone else voted. You're not seeing that with your own eyes, though. You're seeing a number on the screen. You're not seeing 100,000 people. You're seeing the numerals 100K, and it says 100,000. You go, well, 100,000 people all said 1 + 1 = 3, so it's maybe 3. How many people said 1 + 1 = 2? The real answer could be 100,000, but if the screen says only 4 people said it, and you go, oh, well, huh. And if you do say it's 2, you're censored. You go, maybe 1 + 1 is 3. So even if you don't believe it, you start to look around and go, well, everyone else is, because groupthink is very. I mean, there is a reason why the CIA spent so much time and money understanding psychology and groupthink, because it
Oh
is
yeah.
very powerful. And if I can get on my phone and I can go look at, I don't know, Elon Musk, and he's followed by 160 million people. I have no idea if that's really what 160 million people are retweeting. That's what I'm told. I've been in the Georgia Dome a couple times. That's like 80,000. Yeah, I've never seen 160 million people. I have no idea. So why are they supporting it? We don't know if they are. We have no idea if they are. The only people you know for sure are the people who are vocally getting on, not even texting, because I can text you and say, hey, Bernie, man, I sure love terrorism. Is that really Tommy, or is that somebody that took Tommy's phone? So unless you're seeing somebody come out, video, voice, on camera, going, this is why I support Kamala, you don't actually know who supports Kamala. So I would say we don't know. It could be no one. It could be a
But,
moot
it's
question.
funny you bring that up because the polling, it shows her, the national polling shows her ahead. But then I see these massive Trump rallies with 50,000 people, and I don't see her doing anything like
I
that. And
pull up a poll on my phone, and what is it? Well, it's no. Well, it says 89% of sure. No, 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 no. What does your phone show? Your phone shows a chart, and most of the line is blue.
mhm,
That's not showing you 100,000 people. That's showing you a rectangle with color in it. That's not.
yeah,
That's it's. You're not seeing anything. Well, no,
no,
this one says 100 million people watched Trump's interview. No, no, no. Those are pixels on a phone that say 100M. That's what it is. A
yeah,
dollar is not wealth. You can take the dollar and go get fuel or go get food. A dollar is a piece of combustible paper.
mm.
So you have to and I know I'm giving you like these long like
That's
attorney
okay, man.
answers,
That's what
but
we're here
this is
for.
how you have to look at this stuff. Is it's
Yeah,
deeply philosophical. You have to this is what we're looking at. I look outside and I go, there's 100 people in the street. They look angry. I see it. I hear them. You see a phone and says 10,000 people don't like Trump. Who?
I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my point. Now she
Not
could.
even here in Maryland, in this very, very liberal enclave where I live, people are angry. They're upset. And they're looking at the economy and they're looking at some of the things that have happened over the last 3.5 years, and they're not happy.
Yeah.
But yet you look at the idea that Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. You look at the idea that Bill Gates is probably the primary donor to most of the major media in the world. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
gave I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars, and people don't even know that. You would assume that the media has been corrupted, but most people don't pay attention. They don't look deep enough into that.
Mm. So that's what I mean. And alternatively, you also don't know if these are true. They could actually also be true. 80% of America might love Kamala. And so the point is take everyone listening, take my words. Be critical of me. You don't know who I work for. I don't work for anyone. But you don't know if I work for Trump. How would you know? You're hearing, well, I heard Tommy say all this. Well, where's Tommy get his money? Do I get it from the Trump Political Action Committee? You go, oh. So that it's no matter what you hear from who, and by the way, this can go in the opposite way. Trump wins 49 states to 50. I don't believe that. I think Trump has the majority backing in this country. He wins all 50 states. I would also call BS. I'd be like, that's not that's a lie. That's
Yo,
all it means is the powers that be have chosen him.
Critical thinking, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Dude, I got another question for you on the
Yeah.
same variation. So what has Miss Harris done in the last 3.5 years that would earn the undying support of these progressives, knowing that 2 months ago she was listed as the worst vice president in history?
Um, I really think it comes down to you have people that, regardless of Trump derangement syndrome, you do have people that will vote blue who vote blue no matter who. You'll have people who vote Republican no matter what forever. That's a large part of society. It's just straight up, I don't care. That's how dad did it. That's how dad's dad did it. You shut up. That's what we do in this household. That's a large number of people. And to a degree, I am sympathetic to it. Left and right is you don't have to think. Thinking is difficult. It's easier to say, nope, this is what grandpa did and whatever. Um, I think a large part of it's like we just talked about. It's manufactured. It's manufactured sport. It's not real. It's all smoke and mirrors. Following that though, I think there are a lot of people who just you know, Trump is the devil, and they are either being told that Trump's going to put all the gays in a concentration camp, or they are not told that. They just don't like the right, and they like Kamala. It's Slava Ukraini. It's come on through the border. It's grown men twerking in front of toddlers, and that's progressive. And I think the hardest thing for most people to realize, myself and yourself included, is some people also just think differently.
Yeah,
I'm heterosexual. I'm attracted to women. I cannot possibly comprehend being attracted to men, but I know it's true, not just because I know gay guys, but because I know women who can't understand what it's like to be attracted to women. And I go, well, I get it. And they go, well, then you understand why I'm attracted to men. I go, oh, that's also part of it. Doesn't make it right. I think a large portion of this people in this country are legitimately stupid, if not straight up demonic. But I mean, the DNC. Do you have a mobile abortion? That's some modern day Aztec occultist. I mean, that is straight up baby sacrifice.
it is.
So there's also that, in which I don't understand why. So my point is like, so a lot of it could be manufactured and not real. It's all propaganda. A lot of it could just be vote blue no matter who. A lot of it could be Donald Trump's a Nazi and I hate him and I don't care what you say. And then some of it's, if they're cheering on listen, you don't put out a mobile abortion clinic without doing some focus groups first and going, how will this look? They trotted that out because some focus groups told, and real polls, not the polls that show people, the internal polls said this is going to hit it off. If that means the majority of people at the DNC were on board with a mobile abortion clinic, listen, man, there is a fundamental divergence of opinions and moral foundations that I go, yeah, I don't. It's back into physics. It's going into physics and finding out that this physics in this universe is different than ours. You go, it does take a genius to imagine biology might also be different, and it compounds. That means human bodies might be different, societies might be different, history might be different. If the mass of a proton is different, everything down the line changes. So at the core value, if you're cheering on, you can come get your baby killed at the DNC, and people are going, yeah, not just okay with it, but actively cheering it on. Man, there is a fundamental divergence of I'm not sure we're gonna see eye to eye on anything. If the primary difference is cheering on getting babies vacuumed out of you, I don't.
Man, that makes me
We probably don't
wince
see
just
eye to
thinking
eye
about
on, I don't know, Air Force, procurement. We probably don't see eye to eye on the importance of a sixth generation fighter jet. There's a
it.
pretty there's a fundamental, huh? Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna agree on border issues.
Crazy. Well, look, let's keep moving.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Move me along because, as you know,
no, no, no,
I'll
no,
never
no, no,
shut
man.
up.
I will talk to you all day, but I got some specific questions. I'm leaning this towards something.
Yeah.
And so you saw her interview, didn't you?
Where?
She just did an interview on CNN, and she
No.
looked like an amateur to me. It was, I'm a little biased, I will admit, but she goes up there with her vice president, as in she's got to be bolstered. To me, it looked like she was, just not ready for prime time. But
Hmm.
the thing is that the media, they, praised her, but it just looked weak to me. So, what do you think? Did you see the interview? And if so, what did you think of it?
I didn't see it. So I'm going entirely on what you're saying, which means I'm probably not going to give a very accurate answer. But I will say what I said a couple days ago on the show was regardless. I look at it this way: when I got into medical school and I didn't want to go, I talked to two of my uncles, both of whom are doctors, and one of them said, if you're smart enough to be a doctor, you're smart enough to do whatever you want. All right. The other one said, what do you have cold feet about? And I started answering. He said, it's a trick question. If you have cold, the answer should be, I don't have cold feet. That means you're ready to go be a doctor. If you do have cold feet, this profession isn't for you. It can mean you're interested in medicine, but it doesn't mean you should be there and your heart's in it. The same way that you can't kind of want to do a podcast. You have to, this is what I do till 3 a.m. every day. So with that, what's the trick question then? It's, well, did Trump do good or bad on the Elon interview? Did Trump do good or bad on Theo Vaughn's show? Did he do good? He's going to be on Lex Friedman, who I can't stand, but did he do good or bad? Trick questions. He's going out and doing 3 hour unscripted shows
Yeah.
where Elon is probably sees more eye to eye on Elon. They're both billionaire and global figures. Theo
Hmm.
Vaughn was telling him about his cocaine addiction when he was in his 20s. Theo's sober now, but he was talking about it, and you see Trump just going, right, right. It didn't matter whether you do good or bad. You showed up for 3 hours
Yeah.
and talked. So if she's going on something that is scripted and edited, I don't. To me, it means nothing. A scripted and edited interview has no value. It has absolutely no value. It's when I tell people, when I try to get people on my podcast, most people either just say yes or they say no. Some people go, I need to see what your interview style is. They go, send me some shows. And I always tell them, I'm not going to send you shows because I'm going to send you my best performances. You go grab any episode. And I'm confident that the law of averages will say, I probably did pretty well in that episode. So that's what I say. So if I tell me which episodes, yeah, I'm gonna show you the best ones with the biggest guests, and I'm gonna send you highlights of them. That's not real. That's curated. That's ESPN highlight reel on Sports Center. So I haven't seen it, so I cannot answer genuinely or authentically. But until she goes toe to toe with Trump and goes on a 3 hour show, if she goes on Elon Musk for 3 hours and Elon tears her a new one, I would still give her insane credit for going on a show for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just bar none. Even if she talked about the Communist Manifesto, I'd say, you know what? She still went on. I used this example the other day. I had a guy on here that wanted to come on the show and defend the flat Earth, and I said, you know what? Let's do it. And he came on. I don't agree with him. He doesn't agree with me, but it was cordial. We laughed. He took all my questions. He didn't say, no, that's not a. And eventually we agreed to disagree, but we had a great time and it was legitimately fun. That's someone who believes what they are saying.
Yeah.
I don't think she does.
I
And
don't think
until
so either. I don't think she believes in herself. And I just think that she would be an extension of the Biden White House for the next 4 years if she's elected.
it'd be like if Trump released a 6 minute interview with Tucker Carlson. No, we both like Trump. I would imagine we both like Tucker. But the reality is that's not winning anyone over. That's a press release. That's a propaganda piece. You
You're
gotta
right.
go on something that is. And before Trump did Elon and did Theo, that was not that was not in the that was not in the Overton window of discussion because neither had done it. Trump's not done it twice. It is now you now have to reach his you now have to follow him up. And until she does that, I don't really put its value to anything. Go on a show and talk unscripted.
There you go. Well, let's keep on going with Kamala. You can probably tell that's a interesting thing to me.
Sure.
She Look, I see corporate totalitarianism
Yeah.
where she stands. I know we kind of mentioned that a
Yeah.
little bit, but where do you see the future of this country going if she's elected?
Hmm. I see a couple of different probabilities. Worst side, you have the national security apparatus increasing the vites more and more and more. You have kind of, total black bill. You have confiscation of guns, martial law, World War III. Middle, you have she gets elected, and just like 4 years ago versus now, it's kind of unrecognizable in terms of the main figures coming out and saying, "I can't do the Democrat thing anymore." Bobby Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk. Those aren't minimal figures. In 4 years more, you'd have an even crazier. You'd have more and more people sort of leaving the party. That's like the middle probability. The last probability would be, I don't know. It's we talking about honest, genuine election.
Yeah,
Okay, I would say so. Worst is, like I said, kind of deep state vice around the neck. Middle is it's 4 more years of this inflation, economic crash, foreign wars, to where you'd have more people leave the Democrats until eventually the pendulum would swing. But that's all in the vacuum of free and fair elections, which is not guaranteed. And then the last rung would be probably least probable. I don't know. Kind of the war in Ukraine fizzles out, Israel Gaza fizzes out, and it's just a very boring 4 years of, I don't know, token progressive wins. Babies can now, you know, they can transition in the womb or something. I don't know.
crazy.
But that's all considering genuine election. If it's a genuine election and she wins and there's a genuine election in 2028, she'll just lose as the problems get harder and harder to ignore. When bananas cost $50, it will just swing the other way. That's
Yeah,
all considering a free and fair election, which is absolutely not the case. It's like
yeah.
it's like
That's
saying
another whole nother show,
it's
brother.
it's like saying, well, if I work out the hardest and train the hardest, I'll win the Super Bowl. It's like that's considering that people aren't using steroids that you've never heard of that can't be detected. And these are NFL franchises are billions of dollars. You telling me that they wouldn't off the books have some rogue biochemist MD teaching, whatever Tom Brady had a flush allegedly. This
Oh,
is
they
I'm
got,
just using this as
they
forget Tom
probably got
Brady,
a team of them.
Tom Carrigan, whatever. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's billions of dollars. It is absolutely in your interest to develop a footprintless steroid. Yes, it's also in your interest to get refs on your payroll. There's billions of dollars at play. So
Yeah,
it's like saying I can win the Super Bowl if no one does steroids and there's no corruption with refs. Okay,
yeah.
but in the real world, X Y Z. So
Where people actually cheat in elections. Did
yes,
I say that out loud?
well that's part of it. It's cheating is part of every game. It's can you get away with it?
Yeah,
That's all it is. Sports are much because there's a lot of people who are like, no, test them all. But cheating's part of life if you can get away with it. It's not right. It's morally wrong. Say it's not part of it's it's like when the literal patriot colonists were fighting back against the British were like, hey, meet us in this open field and in red suits. And they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna meet you in the woods covered in mud with like Apache axes. Well, that's
yeah.
not fair. I don't care. I
Life
killed
ain't
you.
fair.
I interviewed Delta Force guys. They're like, yeah, we're not. They're like, it's not a fair fight. We come in like on your like holy day. We come in at 2 in the morning when there's no moonlight, and we cut the power. and you have fake signals bouncing off showing aircraft that aren't really there. We're going to mimic a dog barking or a woman crying. We're going to come in and we're going to kill you in your sleep. Like, there's no like meet me out front and be a man. It's like, no, we're coming in IR cloaks with silencers and drones at 4 a.m. on your holy day. That's how we're gonna win. That's what it is. But no one calls that cheating. It's just what it is.
It is what it is. It's funny you say that because my next question is kind of related to that because I see almost a blanket of chaos happening here in the United States over the past, Biden administration. So I'm sure you've heard about these Venezuelan
In
immigrants in
Aurora,
Colorado. Yeah, they're wilding out there. And also just yesterday in California, apparently some illegal aliens tried to stop a school bus trying to scratch or maybe snatch some kids. So I don't know if you heard about either one of these episodes,
I did the
but
first
if
one.
you did, let's talk about it. I want to get your take.
So this comes back to the natural pushback is you will have the consequences of actions continue to manifest over the next several years. So now it's moving from, beef costs more money to now it's moving to, oh, it's not just things happening on the border of Texas. Now you actually have, they're not sending their best. He's right. They're sending
Right.
criminals, they're sending rapists. And now what you're having is it's coming to the front door of people. So
Yeah.
this now splits into two. Free and fair elections, people look at this and this will happen more and more and more, and they'll start to go, hey, you know what? They actually are kind of bad hombres. And people won't say it out loud because they don't want to be labeled a racist, but they'll quietly vote for the Republican in 4 years. They'll go, you got to get rid of this stuff. Yeah, I can't, my snooty little, because it's going to start moving farther and farther north. And all of a sudden, you're going to have people be like, my daughter was kidnapped from my like apartment. Where I'm a professor at Yale. It's very, we saw what the Martha's Vineyard stunt 2 years ago. We saw what really happens when it comes to the footsteps of the powerful. It gets shut down. So
Oh
you
yeah.
have that, and it'll be voted in the opposite direction, or it's going to go to a point where you have people who are going, we can't vote our way out of this. They're not going to. I'm not waiting for 4 more years because that was my daughter on that school bus who was almost snatched and sold into sex slavery. And you also have people who are going to start going, all right, well now the scales are not equal. It used to be that if I tried to settle something with violence, I would go, I can't do that. I'm going to be shunned by society. I'm going to go to jail. My wife and kids are going to be without a father figure. They're going to remarry at best. And that's not the case anymore. Or you're going to go, that's my 4-year-old daughter who was just approached by a bunch of men with a machete. I no longer care what the consequences of my actions are. I'm going to deal with this on my own. And that's not me saying it. That's not me calling for violence. I have a biology degree. I am the least threatening, violent threat out there. What I'm saying is, you're going to push people to a point where there is no longer. Why did people jump out of the World Trade Centers? Because it seemed like the best course of action? Yes, because it was the best course of action. There were no other options left. It was burning alive, dying and being pulverized, caught in rubble, paralyzed until you suffocate, or jumping a few moments of weightlessness and relief from the heat. So
Yeah.
what's happening is right now the World Trade Centers are still standing; they're not on fire, and you're evacuating them. No one's gonna jump. You're gonna get in the elevator. The elevator's clogged. It's a 10-hour wait. Well, wait, man, whatever. Or let's start on the stairs. We'll go walk. We'll be sweaty at the bottom. We'll go get a beer. Okay, now a plane just hit. Now what are you doing? I'm running down the stairs. I'm climbing down the elevator shaft. Okay, the other building just collapsed. Now what are you doing? Okay, it's burn alive or jump. So as you get that, it's going to be pushed farther and farther until you're going to have someone that just goes, yeah, no. And you're going to have someone whose daughter or mother is raped or killed in Aurora or LA. You're going to have something happen, and you're gonna have some people that are delusional and think they're John Wick. You're gonna have other people that go, I know full well I'm gonna be arrested for this. I don't care. There's nothing in this world more meaningful to me than my pregnant wife, my mother, my daughter, my son, whatever. And that's what's gonna happen. And then will law enforcement be sympathetic to them? Probably. You're probably going to start having a lot of sheriffs going, I'm not trying that. That's what's going to happen. So as this increases, and it will, that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to have a civilized pushback in which people go to the polls and or to the voting booth and vote against it. Or if voter integrity is corrupted, you're going to have people starting to take things into their own hands. And that's
Yeah.
not, again, because it's a media platform and do legally. This isn't calling for violence by any stretch. I don't want this to happen. I'm 34 because if that starts happening, this whole country is going to civil war, and then I'm gonna die because I have no military expertise. I don't want to die. I want to live a long life doing podcasting. I want a wife. I want kids. I want to live till I'm old.
There you go.
But as a bet, if a betting man, and everyone is a betting man, you make choices every day. That's what's gonna happen if there isn't if it's not if this isn't fixed. If you don't send in the National Guard to shut down what's happening in Aurora yesterday, I mean, what do you realistically think's? I don't have kids. I can't even imagine that level of love. What happens when some I don't know some GWAT vet, not even special forces, just Marine infantry. His daughter's is not let's say not even successfully snatched. She comes home crying. And you see on the news that a bunch of guys with machetes have stopped the school bus. Not what you think is right, not what you think is wrong, not what you think is legal. A betting man, I go, hey Bernie, here's $1 million if you guess this correctly. What do you think that guy's realistically going to do? Off the record, what do you think he's going to do? You're going to
That
go,
guy's going to revert to his training.
you go. That guy's eyes are about to turn red, and God help the souls in his way.
There you
It's
go.
not because you're well. Technically, I would be morally for that, but not even that. Even if you're going, let's say Bernie, let's say you're in like a monk robe and you go, but I am a pacifist at heart, and I go, I'm not asking you what you want. What do you think? You go, oh, betting. You go odds. Yeah, put it all in red. Yeah, yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. Say watching the Twin Towers burn, you see the first one collapse. What do you think's happening to the second one? Not what you want. You don't want it to collapse. You go, if you put a gun on my head, that one's coming down too. It's not
Yeah.
because you wanted to. It's because that's what's going to happen. You're gonna have some GWAT vet, or some even worse, you're gonna have some Vietnam grandpa who's at the end of his life anyway, and
Don't give a
who
damn.
and who he called in napalm for fun. Grandpa's gonna load an M4 and whatever.
Yep.
And I again to clarify a million times, this is not calling for violence. This is simply I'm looking at the odds and going, what do you think is realistically going to happen to that? But really, and if it doesn't
Yeah.
get stopped, the next school bus will successfully be interdicted. What's going to happen then when you start seeing the equivalent of like the Blackwater mercenaries hung from bridges? What happens when it's all over the news and you find a school bus with a bunch of white linens over the bodies of 8-year olds?
Even Californians are not
What
going
do
to
you
accept that.
legitimately think will happen?
People will take up arms.
Yeah, and then the federal government's gonna go, hey, they're gonna go, sheriff, shut it down. Sheriff goes, no. You go, well, the sheriff's now AWOL. National Guard go in. You're gonna have a bunch of guys in the National Guard going. Now I have to go shoot the sheriff because the sheriff wouldn't arrest that GWAT vet, who, by the way, is my friend because I'm in the National Guard, but he went and served because he rescued his daughter, the daughter who I was, I was there when he got married. Very quickly, you start to see how far up the chain does this go. And then you ask yourself, well, is that what the people at the top of the chain want? Do they want total dissolution and civil war? Are they compromised by another nation who they
It
look at
sure
this and they
seems
go,
that way.
you and I have this conversation. We go, this is where it's going to go. You tell that to Xi Jinping and he goes, oh, that's great. No matter what happens, they do nothing. They're demoralized. I win. They start shooting people. The sheriff doesn't arrest them. The National Guard goes in, and then the National Guard says we're not enforcing this in California, but I don't know, the Florida and Montana National Guards go, we're going to listen to the president. Now they go fight the National Guard. China goes, I win. So you
Yeah.
have to ask, what do the people at the very top want? You go, are they stupid? This is going to lead to civil war. They might be going, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I got one other question for
Yes,
you.
sorry, I've been talking your ear off,
Oh
dude.
man, I called you up because I love talking about these things like this. We have wonderful conversations, and sometimes they aren't recorded.
Yes, sir.
And I want to let everybody in on some of the things we talk about. So, with that said, sir, the floor is now yours. Say what you will to the people.
Work on and grow critical thinking with everything. That I could offer advice about Trump or censorship but I would say at the bottom of all that it comes down to work work towards critical thinking. Wonder why when you see something in the news, ask yourself why are you seeing it? Why was the algorithm? Why did it put this here? Who wrote the article? Who paid for it? Who does this put in a positive light? Who does this put in a negative light? Is it pro-American? Is it anti-American, pro-China? Is it pro-China, pro-American? Is it pro this? Is it anti that? Use critical thinking. But we can't vote our way out. Well, who's saying that? Is that are you being Fed trapped, or are these foreign sources trying to demoralize you? In all that you do, truly, just think critically. It's so much easier to not. I totally get it. Everyone outside my Republican Party is bad. Everyone who's not in my family can't be loved. That I get it. It's so much easier to just fall into that. Just think critically. Ask, well, this says 100 million views. No, it says that on your phone. What do you see? Do you actually see the telltale signs of you're going, they're saying Kamala's leading, but every time Trump comes to town, they have to shut it down because there's so many people. Ask yourself critically. And that you might not like it because you might not like Trump the same way I don't like Kamala. But think critically. Understand that some people do just think differently from you. And try to pair those. And more important than both of those, get rooted in God. And if you don't believe in God, get rooted in leaving a better world than the one you found. And that doesn't mean you got to cure cancer. It can mean that once a month you bring ramen noodle to the homeless shelter. Find that higher power. And it doesn't have to be a literal higher power. It can just be that and focus on that. So think critically and also just try to leave it a little better. Even if that little better than you found it just means that, I don't know, you wrote a one time check for $20 to a cancer foundation. Sure, it's next to nothing. It's $20 more than zero. That's what I would say. And if you can think critically and find a higher power, finding the higher power will actually allow you to think critically because you'll feel less tethered to this world. Because by the way, you're not tethered to the world. Believe in God or not, it it ends. And by finding a higher power, you are less tethered to Democrat, Republican, left, right, America, China, and more just it's fleeting. You're not here forever. So truly just try to leave it a little better than you found it. And it can even be you left it better because you rescued a couple stray cats. That ain't nothing. So root yourself in that ultimate good, and it will give you the freedom to also start. Once you understand that you're going to go right back into the dirt, you're less hesitant to go, I don't know. Maybe Trump's the bad guy. Bernie, imagine you and I considering that. Maybe Trump's controlled off. Maybe he is.
Maybe.
I'm rooted in something much larger and eternal than this. So I don't like that idea. It makes me uncomfortable. I go, no, but Trump's our guy. But what if he's not our guy? What if he's controlled opposition? Well, I'm going to get old and die. So what am I going to do with that? I'm going to try to leave the world a better place. So I know it's like cheesy, but truly just find God or find your form of love, and it will release you to act courageously in all that you do. including just maybe you don't retweet something. You go, I don't know if I'm with her. I don't like that thing that she said or whatever. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Well, man, your 2 cents is valuable to me.
Yes, sir.
And you know that I enjoy having you in the program. I enjoy just trading philosophy with you.
Yeah.
And, the bottom line is I just want to thank you for coming on. And, I don't know if I should mention this, but Don the Pleb,
Mm-hmm.
friend of ours, mutual friend of ours,
Mm-hmm.
he's had some troubles now. I don't know if you want to talk
Yeah.
about that at all.
Yeah. It's the pinned video on my Rumble channel. So yeah, no, I'm very open to that. Don the Pleb's a buddy of mine, buddy of Bernie's, two-time I think Afghanistan artilleryman, Marine enlisted, and he was at January 6th. Don got me, or not, he didn't get me in a pod, but he helped me early on. I discovered Don when I was a tiny channel back in 2020, and he would have me on a show and restream it and help me out a ton. Um, Don went and acted as a reporter on January 6th, and 2 weeks ago, 43 months later, had his door kicked down by the FBI. He was arrested for a day. He got bailed. And right now, we're all trying to raise money for his legal funds. Some people give $100, some people give $1. Um, Don's out. He's safe, but he does have a long legal road ahead of him. Um, and yeah, and don't take my word for it. You can go look. Don his name's Don. His last name is literally Workman. So that's where the pleb comes in. But you can find him on Rumble or YouTube. Go check him out. He's as genuine as they come. Um, and he needs help fighting these legal fees, and he needs notoriety brought to this because the powers that be don't like light being shed on them. So the more eyeballs you get on it, the better. Um, but yeah, I would say to anyone listening, if you can help, um, he is the pinned video on my Rumble channel, and the Give Send Go is there. Um, or you can just share it, or if you have any, you know, if you have any lawyer friends or anything, you can email me, Tommy's podcast, TOMMYS PODCAST@gmail.com, that I can forward to Don. Um, yeah, I think above all else, it probably comes down to money, but also, you know, exposure. Um, I think ultimately he'll be fine. It's just going to be probably a headache. I hope. I have no idea. If they kick down his door, who says they won't do it again? But yeah, and that's maybe also a barometer for. They did that to a Marine who served the country, lost a lot of friends. I mean, literally in front of him, had friends step on IEDs and be gone. They did that to him. What do you think they're going to do to you?
Wow.
So,
Yeah, man. Well, look, brother, I have taken up enough of your time.
oh man,
You
that was,
know,
that
I
was, that
will.
was fun, dude.
Dude, we sometimes shoot the crap and we're not always recording it.
Yeah,
But I just thought the people should see us being natural. And I think
sure.
this was what this was all about. Anytime you need me on the show, you can call me on short notice. You
Yes,
know
sir.
that. And I just appreciate everything you do. I'm never going to be the guy who does all the shows that you do. My pace is about once a week. But
Yeah,
man, I just appreciate you.
yeah,
And if you got anything else you want to say, this is the time.
yeah. I don't know. I'd also say like you doing your thing. Above all else, you just in terms of people doing podcasts, it's do your thing. I do mine because that's what I have to do. You do yours once a week, and you want to focus on. You have to do that. It's not that the one's better or not. You have to go. What is the thing that I am most interested in? Because the thing you're most interested in is the thing that you're going to stick to. So 5 years later, when the shine of the newness is worn off, do I still want to do the show? Well, yeah, because I can go talk to anybody. If you don't like talking to anyone and if you try to mimic my show, but you're not me, and I don't mean that like you're parroting me, but rather because you think that's what you should do, it's going to fail. You have to be Bernie. I have to be me, right? It's just what it is. Some people do shows and they go, yeah, I want to do them once a month and polish them, edit them, graphics on the screen. Hey, you got to do that then if that's what draws you in. I can't do that, and so I won't. But that's how I'd say to anyone starting a show is do you, man. Do you. And yeah, I mean, be like Bernie, just let me ramble on for 20 minutes.
Brother, you don't ramble, you educate.
Oh,
It's a big
thank you,
difference.
sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, look, man, thanks for coming on the program. You know, I always enjoy talking to you. If you need me, call me
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll do the same.
All right, Bernie, thank you so much for having me on, man.
Amen.
All right,
Take care,
everybody.
brother.
Thank you, sir.